Number 2 from the Daily Wire, it says, in the past week, the Montana House Judiciary Committee passed a bill which would create the Save Women's Sports Act, an act that would bar biological boys from teams or in sports designated for women or girls. By passing the bill, the committee set up a floor hearing in the Montana House. The sponsor of House Bill 112 told the Montana Free Press that he wanted to protect the 1972 Title IX permitting biological boys to compete against biological girls would be just wrong, he said. So they're passing this bill. The reason I'm reading this story is that, this is exactly what states have to do. It's been one of my themes over the last week is let's localize our focus, as we have sometimes neglected to do as conservatives. And this is one area here. Now, I also wanted to, as we're talking about, because we know the executive order from Biden, as we're talking about putting boys into girl sports or into girl locker rooms, just a demonstration. Now, you probably don't need a demonstration, but I'll give it to you anyway, because it's good to have the numbers just in front of you. So to demonstrate why it's insane to allow males to compete against girls in sports and why you need bills like the one they're passing in Montana, let's go to kind of a famous example of boys competing against girls. That's in Connecticut, where you had Andrea Yearwood and Terry Miller. Those are both males. And I think now they've graduated, but for a couple of years, they both guys, and they identified as girls, and they started running against girls in track and field. Okay. So here are the results from the 2019 Connecticut State Championships. Okay, for the girls. This is the 55-meter dash. Terry Miller and Andrea Yearwood, for the state championships, they both came in first and second. Again, in the girls' meet, they came in first and second as boys. Terry Miller was first. He had a 6.95. That was his time. Andrea Yearwood had 7.01. And then third, quote unquote, third place, which is Chelsea Mitchell, who really was first place because she was the best female sprinter in the state in high school. It was Chelsea Mitchell, but she came in third place and she had a 7.23, which is significantly behind a 6.95 in a sprint. That's might as well be an eternity. Okay, now keep those times in mind. You go over to the same year, 2019, the men's varsity 55-meter dash. Now, this is the field that Miller and Yearwood should have been competing against. And Miller came in first place against the girls at 6.95. First place for the men's was 6.51. Seventh place was 6.63. So this is a guy who wouldn't even place. He wouldn't even make it on the track. He probably wouldn't have even qualified for the finals against the men with his times. But against the girls, he dominates. This is a mediocre, at best, male athlete, male runner, who against females dominates. Then if you look at the other, it's even more pronounced, like the 300-meter dash. Terry Miller had a 40.13, enough to beat. Second place was an actual girl, 1 second behind. Again, 1 second in a dash is a lot. But against men, the number one time was 35.11. 12th was 37.65. Again, wouldn't have even made it on the track with those times. So you cannot look at that and deny the first of all, the biological difference between men and women, and also the fact that just the simple fact of being a guy affords you enormous inherent advantages that are very, very difficult for a woman to overcome. That a mediocre male athlete, or even a bad male athlete, could just waltz into a women's sport and take over casually without even having to work that hard. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.